I'm your host, Davida Shensky, and you're listening to Live Without Limits, Dreams Come True with the Right Mindset. Today's presentation is titled Procrastination. Are you really lazy or an emotional regulation problem? Procrastination is the thief of time, said Charles Dickens. If you're reading, or rather, if you're listening to this, you probably already hate how much you procrastinate. You hate that you can't just hop to it and get stuff done. You want to be that go getter, that person who checks off tasks like it's no big deal. It's just not happening. And maybe you swung at yourself a few times during the whole procrastination process. You might end up on a negative thought spiral. Or let's cut in right here. We both know that the whole downward spiral isn't doing you any good. So, what if your procrastination tendency wasn't because you were lazy or not as smart as others? What if your procrastination comes down to a lack of emotional regulation? Let that sink in for a second. So, how can we get a grip on this? How can you finally stop procrastinating? And what else should you know? What are the four types of procrastination? Do you or anyone that you know or any of the following types sound familiar? So, what is procrastination meaning? So, check out the categories below regarding reasons for procrastination. Type 1, the anxious procrastinator. This type of procrastinator uses procrastination to cope. This person might have severe anxiety with the thought of starting, working through, or even finishing the task at hand. Type 2, the fun procrastinator. This type of procrastinator simply rather do anything else besides the task that they need to get done. Everything else becomes that much more exciting, even doing laundry for some. It just doesn't make sense to start that one task now when there are more fun things happening. Type 3. This type is known as the plenty of time procrastinator. This is the person who can't bear to start something when the deadline is far away. So they put it off, then put it off, and eventually this comes back to bite them in the butt. Type 4, the perfectionist procrastinator. This procrastinator is never happy with their work. It's never up to the standards. This may fear doing the last thing over, producing low quality work, or failing altogether. Procrastination psychology. Procrastination comes down to many issues. In fact, some experts argue it might even be a self-regulation and self-discipline issue, which comes back to regulating one's emotions. But what else is going on here? Why do so many people suffer from the procrastination problem? What is the root of the procrastination? As mentioned above, most people fall into the four categories of procrastination. Thus, It can be really difficult to stop procrastinating, especially when most people have a legit reason why they are putting off the specific task. At the not of all procrastination, on the other hand, is fear, disorganization, and perfectionism. Is procrastination an emotional regulation problem? In some cases, yes. Many individuals who struggle with procrastination have cognitive distortions, particularly about the task they need to complete. They may believe that they need to be in the right mood, but that mood never happens to arise. They may believe that they have all the time in the world later, which doesn't end up being the case. Or they may feel they need motivation. Here's the thing, you have to make the right mood come about. Motivation won't come from anything external. In fact, you don't even need it to complete a task or chore. It's the hard truth. And this all comes down to how you manage and regulate your emotions. How do you regulate emotions to stop procrastinating? We love pleasure and happiness over pain and suffering. This is an innate human drive. Thus, it's no wonder that we tend to procrastinate, especially when our beliefs and emotions tell us it's the right thing to do. But we know better. We know it's better to get that work task done than face the wrath of our boss down the road. We know that it's a good idea to do laundry now rather than later when we have no clean underwear or socks left. So, what can you do about this to stop procrastinating? Figure out why you're procrastinating. Use the 4 types of procrastination about and to help yourself get to the bottom of it all. Usually it's because we are delaying a negative emotion we don't want to experience. But it's important to know what that emotion is and acknowledge it. Once you acknowledge it, you can figure out a way past it. Break your task into smaller tasks that just get started. Okay, we get it. It's hard to fully jump into a task that you really don't want to do. But what about if you just dipped your toes in? What if you just planned a little bit ahead and broke that big task down into smaller tasks? Before you know it, you'll be done. Actually, use rewards to motivate yourself. Maybe you can't do that fun thing until you're done with the task. Or perhaps you're going to celebrate being done and the task by hitting up your favorite restaurant. By doing something like this, you give yourself an incentive to get it and get it done. Make a deadline. In addition to breaking down the task into smaller pieces, you can set deadlines for each small piece. For example, if you have to write a big paper, you can plan to write the intro by a certain date, the next section by another date, and so on until it's completed. Get rid of any distractions. Sometimes to get stuff done, we need to literally trap ourselves in a room and just do it. Nike knows what we're talking about. Remember the thing? Just do it. Eliminating distractions is an essential piece of halting procrastination, especially if you're prone to shiny objects. Make a rule to do things right now. When things come up, just get them done. Or if tasks take less than 5 minutes, do them as they pop up. This can prevent a lengthy to-do list from piling up and halt your procrastination in its tracks. So don't procrastinate. Get moving again. It's not working for you, but against you. But you probably already know that. Finding the reason why you're putting things off can help you thwart it. And yes, this can be tough to face, but not having the stress of various tasks hanging over your head is entirely worth it. And one of the things that we need to talk about here is the fact that procrastination is one of the things that affects us because it is part of time management. And if you don't have good time management skills, then what's happening? You are procrastinating because you are putting off doing something to tomorrow that should be done today.